Hola, hola, amigas. Welcome back to another episode of Modern Latina in Midlife. I am Sonia Flores, holistic life and business coach, podcast producer, intuitive advisor, and your host. Let me start by saying this clearly. You are not behind. You are building from experience, and that changes everything. After listening to today's episode, you will walk away with a new perspective on why it's not too late and actually the perfect time to start something new, whether it's a project or a career pivot or a business. The real reason your age is an advantage and not a setback, how your life experience translate directly into value, income, and impact, a mindset shift that will help you stop comparing yourself and start taking action. I was on a call with a client last week and we were going over her progress and her action plan and the things that she is working toward to make this year the year that she creates freedom. Freedom of time, location freedom, financial freedom. And as we were getting close to our to closing out our session, we got into the conversation of how sometimes she feels she should have started earlier. She should be further ahead in her business and life. She has done amazing work and created success in her own right. She's done amazing work. And she is in her late 50s and feeling a certain way about where she is. I coached her through this, which brought her to tears in a great way. We share a very similar passion to helping women, empowering women to create the life that they desire and the passion, purpose, independence, freedom that they desire. But what it really left me feeling like was like I wanted to scream this message from the mountaintop, and I thought it would be a great topic to share with you here today. It's so easy to fall into the comparison trap. You jump on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, and we see all these young women sharing their content, sharing the millions that they're making, the expensive cars they're driving, the designer clothes they wear, the amazing luxurious vacations, and this amazing freedom lifestyle. And it's so hard to look away and not feel like I should have had this all figured out already. So I definitely get how it's easy to go down that spiral. I've been there. But what I've been reading about lately, and even having conversations about with my coaches and mentors, is how our age is really on our side. After 50, and I'm using 50 as a benchmark, as a marker, but it can even be, your 40s or going into your 60s. But at this age, which we call midlife, we have lived a full life. We have had many experiences, challenges, struggles, wins, and everything in between. We've acquired skills from each one of these experiences, whether it's resilience after loss or discerning when to leave a relationship, whether it's a romantic relationship or a friendship that is no longer serving us, or it's getting back up after getting laid off, or it's learning to love ourselves, learning self-care after reaching burnout at a career and abandoning ourselves in this process of life, or if it's learning to trust our intuition. At this age, many of us have experienced a major situation where our intuition, our gut instincts, told us to make a choice, but our logical brain talked us into taking a different one. And years later, we might have found that that first choice was the one we should have taken, or we would have really loved to have taken. But we allowed our ego, our mind, to take the wheel and drive our decision. At this age, we may have experienced several losses, lost loved ones to disease, or lived through a disease. Many of us will have potentially become parents, raised our kids, and may even be experiencing empty nesting. Maybe we are at the age when we're taking care of our parents now. We may have experienced losing a business, filing for bankruptcy, having shitty credit, and rebuilt after it. At age 50, I've experienced all of these. And I'm not sharing this for sympathy. I'm sharing this So you understand the level of experience I'm speaking from. I got divorced because my husband was an addict and refused to get help. Lucky for my sons, their father did get the help he needed and is a better man and father to my sons today. I left a second long-term relationship because he was also an addict, and that's no surprise. And a very lost soul as well, and a narcissist. This is all one person, the same one. And clearly, I had not learned my lesson from the first marriage and needed to get it harder with the lessons and to really understand it. And I did. I raised my two sons as a single mom for most of their lives with very little to no financial help from their father. Worked in corporate 18 years, experiencing the effects of the major wage gap between men and women and the men's club in corporate, the blatant underpayment and underappreciation of employees. I left corporate to start a business that then got ruined and crashed with the 2007 market crash. Went back to corporate, only to leave 2 years later again. Experienced challenges with my teenage sons, which I won't get into because that's their life and their story. But it tested me like nothing else ever has. And during this period of their teenage years, my father became ill with stage 4 cancer and very quickly declined and then passed away. And so that was my son's story too. Their emotions were also very much touched, and they experienced a loss of their own, and they had their own way of coping with that. And so it was all this beautiful mess, just of all the emotions of everybody's way of coping through the loss of my dad. And shortly thereafter, the challenges presented through this process led me to my spiritual awakening. And what that all has entailed has been a beautiful journey of learning how keeping myself coherent, present, and regulated, and healing and breaking generational cycles has become my mission in life, and how beautiful it is on the other side of all that. How each one of those challenges and lessons have contributed so beautifully today to my appreciation of life and what I have today, whether it's materially or emotionally or spiritually, the strength that I now possess. I couldn't have gotten here without any of that. And what I have deliberately set out to build. Every single one of those experiences became a skill: resilience, discernment, boundaries, leadership, emotional intelligence, self-care and self-love, learning to trust myself, intuition activation, seeing my triggers as a gift into what needs intention, forgiveness, gratitude, what truly matters in life. It's different for each of us. And living with joy. That is what I now bring into my work. Many women my age have lived through many similar struggles and experiences. And it's difficult to think that someone in her 20s or 30s has lived this much. Not saying that what they have to offer and what they've experienced in life is not enough to help someone, not at all. We only need to be 2 steps ahead of someone else to help them get through what we've already. Here's the truth most people won't say. A lot of what you're seeing online is not the full picture. You're seeing highlights, you're seeing marketing, you're seeing curated success, and sometimes you're not even seeing the truth. What you don't see is the debt, the burnout, the lack of sustainability. So you're comparing your life to someone else's highlight reel. And why even compare yourself anyways? We're each here on this earth to live a different experience. For our soul's journey is each different. We're each here to do a different role, to play a different role in this ecosystem where we're all having a human experience. And that will make you feel behind if you can continue to compare yourself. But when you have had 50 years of experience, you have that much more to offer. For me in coaching, when women come to me, whether they are 35 or 65, I have a wealth of experience, challenges, triumphs I can pull from to help them. Your mess becomes your message. And the people who I can help will find me, will magnetize to me, will tune into my frequency, and will be drawn to me. The universe will bring them to me because I can help them. After 50 is really the best time for women to create their dream business or bring that dream or project to life or even have a major career pivot. Astrologically, it is painted in the stars. I had my friend Monica Lorraine join me on the podcast last year to talk about this. After age 50 is actually one of the most powerful times for women to start a new business, project, or career pivot, and astrology explains why. By this stage of life, you've already gone through several major astrological cycles that shaped who you are. The first is your Saturn return around ages 28 to 30. This phase is about becoming an adult, learning responsibility, setting boundaries, and understanding how the real world works. Then in your early 40s, you go through the Uranus Opposition. This is often called the Midlife Awakening. It pushes you to question your life, your career, relationships, your identity, and many people start realizing they're not fully aligned with what they truly want. That happens in your early 40s for all of us. By the time you reach late 40s and early 50s, you've already gone through those major wake-up calls. You're no longer figuring out who you're supposed to be. You have a much clearer understanding of who you actually are. You're also moving toward your second Saturn return around 58 or 60, which shifts your focus from building a life to creating something meaningful and aligned with your values. From a practical standpoint, this is why starting something new after 50 can be ideal. You have life experience and pattern recognition. You make better decisions faster. You're less influenced by outside expectations and more confident in your choices. You've already tested different paths, so you know what doesn't work for you. You tend to care less about judgment, what makes it easier to take action. You're more focused on purpose and fulfillment, not just survival or proving yourself. So it's not that you're starting late. It's that you're starting with clarity, experience, and alignment, which significantly increases your chances of building something that actually works and feels good long term. I recently listened to a conversation between Michelle Obama and Jamie Lee Curtis. And this is what they were saying. We are probably the beginning of the first generation of women who is pushing against the norm, the standard, the way women were raised and conditioned to think about themselves in connection with the rest of the world, to hold their place as women in the family, in their communities, because it was all orchestrated by men. And as soon as women started to understand that they could have their own mind, they could challenge the job and pay equality, things started changing. And that's where we are, with people like Billie Jean King pushing back and paving the way for us. And now you and I, women my age, are continuing to pave that way for the next generation. We now get to offer our wisdom, our strategic skills and experience because we have already been through so much. Book info can only take you so far because you can only take people as far as you've gone, as my great mentor Michelle Chalfant always says. So the more life you have lived, the more value and wisdom you have to offer. So I pulled a little bit of information from past ancient civilizations. In ancient Greece, older women often held spiritual authority. The priestess at the Oracle of Delphi, called the Pythia, was one of the most respected figures in Greek society. Kings and leaders would seek her guidance before making major decisions. These roles were often held by older women because they were believed to have deeper wisdom and life experience. In ancient Egypt, women, especially as they aged, could become healers, priestesses, and advisors. They were associated with wisdom, healing, and spiritual knowledge, often connected to goddesses like Isis. Older women were trusted for their knowledge of medicine, rituals, and community care. In many indigenous cultures around the world, elder women are deeply respected still to this day. They are the storytellers, the teachers, and the keepers of tradition. They guide younger generations, help resolve conflicts, and pass down knowledge that isn't written but lived. In Celtic and early European traditions, older women were often known as wise women or healers. They worked with herbs, natural medicine, and spiritual practices. People and their communities would go to them for guidance, healing, and support. Over time, especially in parts of Europe, this perception changed. During events like the witch trials, many of these knowledgeable women were feared or prosecuted instead of respected. This was, of course, all led by the patriarchy. So historically, there was a shift from honoring older women's wisdom to suppressing it. For most of human history, older women were valued for their experience, intuition, and knowledge. They were the healers, the leaders, the advisors. Age wasn't seen as a decline, it was seen as authority. So when you look at starting something new after 50, it's actually more aligned with how women were viewed historically, not as past their prime, but as stepping into their most powerful role yet. I mean, how beautiful is that? Can you feel that? I mean, I don't know if you feel my energy, but I'm like, my heart is just bursting open right now, and I have chills going up and down my body because this resonates so much with me. We are seeing an increase in conversations about perimenopause, menopause, hormones, longevity. We have many years ahead of us still. So let's talk about age expectancy for a little bit. Overall, women in the U.S. have an average life expectancy of about 81 to 82 years. Latina women tend to live a little longer on average, with life expectancy typically around 83 to 84 years. So if you're 50 today, you still have 30 more years on average to live and be on this beautiful earth. Why not make it the best experience yet? Why not share your wisdom and get very clear about your soul's purpose in this lifetime? Act on your passions and desires and share those. So if you've ever felt like society is telling you that you're too old, it's wrong. That's just a modern idea led by colonial patriarchy. Historically, this is the exact age when women stepped into their leadership, their most powerful roles. So the question isn't, am I too late? The question is, are you ready to step into that role now? This is exactly the work that I do with my clients, helping them take everything they've lived through and turn it into something meaningful, aligned, and profitable. My next program, which is actually my soul's mission and purpose in this lifetime, will begin in May. It is called Start a Soulful Business. It is a 90-day program designed to build a heart-centered business aligned with your purpose. In this transformational container, you will receive step-by-step guidance to create a thriving heart-centered business that not only serves others, but also fulfills you on a soul level. I will help you break through the barriers that have held you back. You will learn mindset and manifestation techniques to clear blocks, overcome imposter syndromes and all the limiting beliefs, stop procrastinating, allowing you to manifest your soulful business with ease and confidence. This journey is designed to harness the power of both the divine, masculine, and feminine energies. You'll engage your feminine energy to unlock creativity and bring your vision to life, while your masculine energy will establish clear structures and strategies that will make it all happen. I'm going to read what one of my recent grads shared, which was so beautiful. I spent years telling myself I was going to start a business, but I was just dabbling. I was frustrated, disappointed, and honestly, I had no idea what the next step was. Taking Sonia's program was the turning point. She provides a clear, logical outline that helped me get on task without feeling overwhelmed. Each week offered small, bite-sized actions that actually fit into my real life. The biggest surprise? Building my website. I expected to feel insecure and nervous, but Sonia gave me the confidence to just get it done. Today, I'm not just proud of what I've built, I'm excited about where I'm going. Sonia is an excellent teacher with lots of experience she is willing to share. If you're tired of waiting on creating your business, this is the roadmap you need. And that's for my recent graduate, Brenda, who is an intuitive energy healer and doing some really amazing and fun things in the world. So if this interests you, I invite you to get on the wait list for a chance to save your spot early, get the best pricing and bonuses. This program is an investment in both your soul's purpose and your business, and they can coexist. Amigas, there is no better time than now to create something of your own with everything that is going on in the world. Not only that, but the world needs your magic and your gifts now more than ever before. And I promise you, your people, your ideal clients are waiting for you to start sharing what you have to offer, your unique skills and gifts in the way that only you can offer them. If you have any questions, you can DM me on Instagram at Blue Chakra Studio or email me at sonia@soniasdes.com. Thank you so much for being here. Hasta la próxima, amigas.